Hello, hello everyone, and welcome to another stream from your friendly neighborhood streamer, Yentra. And today, some rock mining. So, yeah, this is a continuing series that I've been doing for a while, which is just basically answering the question, where's the best place to mine Hadanite? And everyone will tell you Aberdeen is the best place. So we're putting that to the test. We've already pitted Magda against Daymar, the two kind of up and coming rock mining locations, and now we're gonna vet the veterans and see if they can live up to the hype. Hey Dread, welcome to the stream. And yeah, so welcome, settle in. I am here at Arc L1 because when you mine on Aberdeen or Arial, it's recommended that you bring a hot suit, the Pembroke, the Pembroke suit. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase one of those. Just, I thought I had one. Actually, that's why I flew here. But I didn't have one in inventory. So we're going to buy one. And that's probably a good thing. So you can see just how much these things cost. Because that is something you're going to have to factor in if you want to do some mining on either Arial or Aberdeen. They're the two moons where a hot suit is recommended. The others, you can get away without it. So we're going to do that first. If you come in here, this is the Pembroke suit that you need. I don't know why the helmet isn't on there for you to purchase that as well, but we're going to purchase the backpack, the suit, and the helmet. So keep an eye on my costs there. And of course you can buy those right here in the refinery. So let's pick a good location here. Yeah, actually we'll do undersuits first. So the Pembroke suit costs 10,330. And of course, the helmet is 5,050. Now you can actually, if you do a lot of looting, you can find these helmets and you can sell them, I think, for around 2,500 here. If you bring them back to the refinery, they will buy them for 2,500 or 1,000 credits everywhere else. And then I'm going to buy that backpack. I think I already have a backpack, but that backpack is 2,180. Backpack is kind of optional. I recommend it for a couple of reasons. One is if you, you kind of break down and you have an issue with the rock, the gray cat rock, you're going to want a backpack to store the gemstones, and that one will get you what you need. So I'm just going to make sure I've got it. It's there. It's in inventory. I'm going to take these plain clothes, and we're going to pull out the Nomad and head to Aberdeen. So the way we've been doing this so far, and as soon as I get in the ship and get on my way, I will kind of give you a little bit of a rundown, a summary of what we've seen so far in this series. And I'm just kind of doing this for my own, edification. I just, honestly, people ask me all the time where the best place to mine is. And to be honest with you, I have been telling them to head to Walla, to Magda. And, now I probably, it is still a good option. We'll talk about all the details as I get in here, but I suspect that the that Aberdeen's going to win this whole thing, this whole competition. But I don't know by how much, and maybe it won't win. We'll find out. We're in the 3.17.2, I'm sorry, point 3 patch right now, Hangar 2. So we're going to use that to see if things have changed, because I think some of these numbers have changed with patches. So there's a Nomad. We don't have the rock in it. I selected this ship specifically because I wanted to use the same ship as we're running through the contest. And I wanted it to be a ship that was relatively within reach of new players. And I don't know... I'm fairly certain that this ship is actually less expensive than like a Cutlass Black. And so I went with the lowest cost ship that I could possibly get. And then I want to keep using the same ship because we're timing things, and I want to make sure that we don't have the ship become a factor. So let's see here. I guess I don't have any. I do have some Novakai helmets, and you can find those looting probably more than you can the Novakai, or excuse me, the Pembroke, and those go for the same when you loot them. Just bring them back to a refinery, and you're good to go. So, oh yeah, and I have one of these things, one of these helmets. Everyone's the Hill Horror helmet. I think a lot of people have the Hill Horror, but not the Van Duel. Anyone wants that helmet, I'm more than happy to give it to you. So just raise your hand, and we'll meet up, and you can have it. I probably won't wear it. I just grabbed it while I was looting and got lucky. I know some people are looking, and I think the Van Duel ones are the more rare ones. So I'm going to want that backpack. And I'm also, so there's the backpack right here. I'm also going to want to make sure I have some sustenance, and I think I have some in one of my backpacks, so let's just check that out. I want to say, actually, I think this one. I've got a little bit of sustenance, and we'll just take what we got. Kind of always a good idea to have a med pen and a tractor beam multi-tool. We're not going to get into any trouble, so we don't need any of those. I think that's probably pretty good. We're not going to spend all the time. I don't want to waste any time looking through backpacks. That's the way I came. So we're going to head to Aberdeen, and I'm at Arc L1. We'll have a little travel time, and when we do that, I'm going to just kind of give you kind of the lay of the land of like how I've done these.
Welcome. Your journey begins now. All systems operational.
You are clear to launch.
Let's just see if we have any. Yeah, let's take this while we can get it. Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. It is a Nine Tails lockdown. That event happened earlier today. I'm in Pacific time zone, and I think it's spinning back up in a couple of hours, so I appreciate you watching this while we're waiting for that event to happen. And I don't know if I'm going to do that on stream. I don't know if it's the most interesting, but then again, I'm going out and I'm rock mining, so not the action-packed stream like we had the other day. Oh boy, was that! We did do Jump Town, and had our good friends Luca and Space Bub joined us, and
Please visit again.
and we went in completely disorganized. and it showed on stream. But then we got a bit of luck.
Quantum travel engaged.
After we sort of went through all of our technical issues and ran into some other issues, we ended up stealing the ship, and that was full of drugs, and made a great escape, and actually had a real world earthquake occur while I was streaming. First earthquake I've ever been in since moving to the Bay Area, and I'm told that it was a 5.1, which is a fairly substantial earthquake, and the largest earthquake of that magnitude in 7 years. So, yeah, that was really interesting. Took a little break. I'm safe. I'm happy to report I'm safe. So, first, let's get to some things here while we're traveling. Let's look at where we were, or where we are, in the sort of contest so far. And you can see that Daymar won. We did 5 sessions, so this will be a session. Every stream will roughly be about a session. A session runs for about an hour or so, as you can tell, because there's 5 hours there. A little over 5 hours of time. And that first category is sessions, and the second one is runs, and that is a number of clusters, essentially. Like every time I come across a cluster, I'm marking that as a run. Now that may be, the terminology of that may be a little confusing, but that's basically I'm coming across a cluster, and we're calling a cluster 2 or more of Hadanite. If it's 2 or more of Hadanite, I'm going to mine it. And then we count up the total number of minutes. That's, I'll start sort of an official clock, and that'll be when I'm on the pad, in this case, at Aberdeen, on a pad, ready to take off to start mining. I'll kick the clock off, and then we keep track of every run as well. We have the times for all of those. And then we sell. And, based on how much we sell, that's how much we've mined. And then that's how I get our profit per minute. And you can see that Daymar decisively wins that battle. With all the stats being equal, it's 107,000 more credits. That's substantial. That is substantial. So the average per minute is 1,811. So while we're mining today, we're going to be able to sort of match these numbers against these 2 moons. And these numbers are locked in. And, Daymar officially won. But I'm going to continue doing mining. And while I mine, use the Discord bot that I have coded, which keeps track of all of these things for us. So it's really going to be an ongoing thing, but I wanted to have sort of a conclusion that we could count on. So that's why we stopped at about 5 hours. I think that's a fairly good, good test. So let me just tell you a little bit about Aberdeen. This is the moon we're going to be going to today. It's one of 4 moons orbiting Hurston. The moon's atmosphere is around 1 ATM and consists of toxic gases that are non-breathable to us humans. Its temperature can reach up to 230 degrees Celsius, and the moon is mostly known for the Gleicher rehabilitation facility. So if you've been to jail, you've been to Aberdeen.
Quantum travel complete.
And it is hot. That's a good way to, just tell you. It is a very hot moon. We'll go ahead and jump there. And while we're jumping, Arial is also a moon of Hurston. The moon's atmosphere is around 0.7 ATM. So a little less atmosphere there. And it consists of toxic gases as well, and they are also non-breathable to humans. And its surface temperature can reach up to 200 degrees Celsius. So a little cooler by, 30 degrees Celsius. But you can survive on that moon both moons without the suit that I brought, but you'll only have like 15 minutes or so of of survivability. So you can rock mine. People do it without a suit. I didn't want to put that pressure on us and make us have to run in, because what happens, of course, is you have to run into your ship, cool down, and then come back out. Now, the rock is also impacted by this temperature, as I'm told. How exactly it might overheat, from what I understand. And, you have to kind of be aware of that. I've upgraded the rock that we're going to be using today. We're going to land in the dark, which is just fine by me. It's one of the moons where when you land in the dark, it's cooler and you can survive a little bit longer. Not by much. I think they throw the temperature down. I have to look that up, but I believe it's... We'll check actually when we land, but it is a hot moon, and that is where Hadanite is prone to materialize. In the game it spawns, but of course in lore it's just that Hadanite is a substance that is created through the hot moon, or a hot surface. So this moon is hot. And like I said, I'll pop out of the ship before I put my suit on, and you'll get a good sense of like what we're dealing with here. Try not to die. There's some lights so we can finally turn that quantum drive off. And again, this is the go-to moon that people will say is the best. And throughout my time mining, I will tell you, it's good. I don't know if it is the best anymore. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this whole series, is just to get a good sense of how good this particular moon is. That's where we want to be, actually. So I'm gonna... Now, of course, the Nomad's just small enough. I could park this sideways if I really wanted to, but... I've been flying some larger ships lately, so this is just a treat to be in a smaller ship that is just bouncing, going right where I want it to go. I've been using the Nomad. In fact, I specifically got it for this whole series. And I will tell you, I'm really happy with it. I fly the Valkyrie, the MSR, and those are the two main ships that I rock mine in. But since I've got the Nomad, I have to say, I've gone back and I've used the Valkyrie. And I'm going to say, I don't know if it's better. Actually, I don't think it really is. So yeah, you can see our survival rate's 10 minutes. I don't have the suit on right now, and that's fine. I just got to find the platinum bay before we platinum die. Where did that go? Did I miss it? Is it on the other side? Oh, there it is, right in front of me. Okay. God. Now, of course, the rock will save you a little bit. We'll find out when this is kind of one of the reasons why I didn't want to put the suit on right away. Just to show you, it's not life or death. You don't just pop out there and die. You do have a little bit of time. And you can definitely break a rock, gemstones, in 10 minutes or so. But that's kind of pushing it for the clusters.
To the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
Okay, so we're going to look for the gray cat rock. And these are both in ships. That's why they say unknown. I'm going to grab this one.
Your insurance claim has been sent.
So we'll just wait for that. Never really pay for the expedite the rock unless I'm not in that much of a hurry that I need to
Stand by.
expedite that. Sometimes I do. I guess I have done that in the past.
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location.
Okay, so rock is out there. Let's go jump in, and I think it's going to help us with our time, survival time, by just a bit. Okay. Yeah, so we're down to 10 minutes. And let's jump in. That doesn't seem to be helping us. I know this is not technically climate controlled. But I thought sometimes you get into an interior and it will actually give you a little bit more life. Let's jump this around. Normally when I do these videos, I actually have everything all ready to go. But I wanted to buy the suit and just kind of go through that process. Again, that's not something that I would typically do on stream, and now that we have a suit, I'll make sure I keep one handy. And since we're wearing the suit, we're going to be more than fine with time. You'll see, obviously, as soon as you put the suit on, you're kind of good to go. But I can park this thing in under 8 minutes. No problem. And I'll get the lights out of our face. And the Nomad's great, and some people complain about parking. I think that's kind of an old complaint, to be honest with you. This thing parks just fine. And they did have, I think at one point or another in the Nomad, they had some issues with gravity. Either it wasn't, set or not complete, but it is, it locks in just fine. It doesn't bounce around. In fact, it really is, it seems like it's made for the rock. I really think they designed this to fit a rock, and a rock DS fits in there as well. All right, now once I get in here, I'm going to go ahead and put on the suit. Actually, yeah, that's the other thing I should mention. I didn't come all that prepared because I only have one drink. But we'll make do, and if I have to, we can pause, and we'll do a run and come back, and then we can kind of pause, and I can grab some drinks. Unless I do that real quick right now. Why don't we do that right now? So I can actually show you, how I think what will happen with the surviving stat that you get with the suit on is it'll just like display an hour. Yeah, and it does this kind of random countdown. But I'm gonna use this time because we're not on the clock yet, and use this time to grab a couple of drinks here. I just cashed in all of my work orders for Quantanium mining today, and I've already dispersed the money. So yeah, so we'll just put these right in our backpack. So I wouldn't say say that you're down to 5 million. Sounds a little pretentious, but I am. I'm down to. Oh, yeah, a little over. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't give everything back. Okay, so yeah, 6.4. Descent, the difference between the Rock and the Rock DS is that the Rock, which you just saw me pull out, is a one-seater. That's probably the biggest distinction. It has roughly, I think, a third of the storage that oh, look at that. The Rock DS has. So the Rock DS is the larger one, and then the Rock is the smaller one. And the other difference is that the Rock DS is a two-seater, but you have one seat for the person driving the vehicle, and there's another seat which is just the mining laser. So you can single pilot it, but just like a mole, if you're used to the mining world, yeah, you can technically single pilot a mole, but you have to get out of the pilot seat and go down into the turret or the mining laser head to actually do the rock breaking. The same thing with the DS. You have to go in. And those are Horizon helmets, so it's just checking. And you have to go in, you have to drive the rock right up to a location that you want to mine, and then hop out of the driver's seat and go into the mining laser. Some people like the Rock DS more so than the Rock. And in fact, if you want, I'll just go ahead and pull. I actually have a Rock DS here. I mean that I can spawn. It's not that a big deal, and I'll just show you. It also is. It has like an extra set of wheels, and it's substantially wider than the Rock. So the DS is just the big one. And I bought one of these in-game. And by the way, that's what I recommend if you do want to get into rock mining. You buy these things in-game. They're about 300,000 credits or something to that effect. They are not expensive.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
And you can rent them as well. But once you buy them, you can do some minor upgrades. So here's the DS. I'll claim it. And so I don't keep... Uh-oh.
Your insurance claim has been sent.
Once again received
Your
word that
vehicle has
outlaw
been moved
elements
to
are
a storage
plotting to move
facility.
against a station in our sector. Although it is my belief that security forces will be able to deal with this threat before it emerges, it is
Vehicle
encouraged that you
selected.
take extra
Stand by.
precautions while traveling. Thank you.
Oh, interesting. So I thought that was going to happen much later today.
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location. Goodbye.
I looked at the schedule for the Ninetales lockdown, and I think the time conversion got messed up. So yeah, I know it's in the dark. But here's the DS. Now the chassis, it's relatively the same size. But you have, like I said, you have a lot more storage, which is in the back here. It's like external storage. And you know what? I've actually, Dredd, I've actually heard one person say they prefer it. There's a streamer who does. He's kind of friends with Starstream. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and he uses a DS. The reason he says he uses it is for reliability. And so I got one of these and I tested it out. I'll tell you what I thought of it here in just a second. But there's the pilot, just like in the regular rock. But here is the mining laser, which is exposed. The other difference is that is a climate-controlled environment for the pilot. But that is not a climate-controlled environment for the mining operator. So it doesn't make much sense. It is really just like somebody half built this thing and said, well, we need to make sure that they can be protected from the elements. But you can't really do, somebody's going to need to wear a suit. And I don't ever see me bringing a buddy and going, hey, do you want to drive me to a rock and I'll break it and we'll save a bunch of time? So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, the other thing that I'll point out about the Rock DS is when you're in the mining laser seat, and I'll jump in here, just kind of show you. The big difference is it's like a turret in a way. You are moving the mining laser as you move. And let me see if I can turn this thing on. Yeah, power on. And you are moving with the mining laser like a gun. Which, if you're in a turret, no, Tread, it's not twice as fast. I wish it was, but it really isn't twice as fast. It isn't. There's no other advantage. In fact, storage is kind of the thing. But what I was saying about the mining laser is because you're moving with it like a turret, it's not like you're doing PvP where you are, if something comes across your horizon and you track it and you start firing. When you're rock mining, as you'll see here when we get out and I start mining, not in this thing, but in the other, you're moving around quite a bit. You have to hit the rock and then you have to scoop up the rock. And if you're like me, if you're at all susceptible to like motion sickness, I literally got sick trying to use this. Uh-oh. No doors, no bueno. Might be, 30K. We're going to 30K here, which is going to be awesome. And yeah, not off to a great start, but actually, you know what? I'll take a 30K now before we get into actually mining. So stick with me. We'll do a reset here and I'll be right back. I'm going to restart. Yeah, we're doing a full restart here because the game was locking me out, so bear with me, guys. Okay, thank you for your patience on that one. We are in the loading screen, and hopefully it's not the infinite loading screen that I had before the restart, but these things happen. Star Citizen is Star Citizen, and, you know, I'm glad we got that 30K out of the way. Smooth sailing from here on, I hope. Let's let this roll, and I think we're going to end up in Arc L1. But we got our suit, which is fine, and we'll just grab the Nomad and head back and get to getting. Now, normally I'd have my spawn point set, obviously, someplace a little closer, but I just had to come back here for the suit. And of course, the Ninetales lockdown, I believe, is happening now. But I want to do some rock mining today.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Vehicle selected. Stand by.
I have seen when this situation's happened in the past. Actually,
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location.
I have seen the rock persist, and if that's the case, that's good for us, because then I'll just jump right into mining when I get to Aberdeen. Ah, there it is. I do want to check one thing before I get too excited and take off. Just want to see if I can get into it, because that is another thing that does happen, is that it sort of dies on us. Yep, we can get in the seat, then that's good. That's good news. You really have to, you know, kind of pay attention to the rock. It is a finicky vehicle. I think a lot of the land vehicles are finicky, but the rock in particular is it wants to break down, and for all kinds of reasons it'll break down, and it's so the reliability is kind of in question. And that's the one thing I've heard about the DS is because it kind of came later in game, that they put a little more attention to it.
Welcome. Your journey begins now. All systems operational.
You are clear to launch.
Yeah, I've got the green paint on the Nomad. I'm pretty happy with this little ship. I mean, I didn't fly it right away, but especially for what we're doing today, it is the kind of a great little ship for that. And if you're into rock mining,
Retracted.
it's a very approachable ship, obtainable. Okay, so we're gonna head straight to Aberdeen via Hurston. I guess I can't get there quite yet.
Thank you, and please visit again.
Yeah, if anyone knows why this happens, sometimes your marker just does not. I know, obviously, if I'm obstructed. The only thing I've known to fix that is just fly far enough away. And it should be sort of towards the sun from here. And you can see I've got a clean line of sight here. I should be able to see Aberdeen. But why that doesn't work, I don't know. So I just book it. Clear the station. Get out of the proximity of the station. That's the only thing I've seen work for these quantum marker situations. Yeah, if anyone has any tips about that, leave them in the comments, because it's new to this patch for me. I've never had this issue. There we go. Yeah, see, it just fly away, and then I'll get the proper marker. You can obviously search for it randomly in the sky, but that's no fun.
Quantum travel engaged.
Yeah, I would definitely, just to put a cap on the DS discussion. Well, not a cap, but just my final thoughts on that. I highly suggest not using it. It doesn't make any sense to me in game, and maybe there will be some sort of advantages to it. I maybe dread, like you said, there would be some benefit if it's does something in caves that the regular rock can't. It does have an extra set of wheels, but it's wider than the rock, and I don't know if that really is a huge advantage to be bigger for a cave. Right now, it's just storage, but storage really isn't a concern when you rock mine. You can fill up the rock, but by the time you do, as I said, you're really pushing the limits of that vehicle if you're waiting that long to unload the rock. I would only recommend about an hour of mining time in total, somewhere around there, before you really need to cash in your chips, or at least, at the very least, offload it into your ship, whichever ship you happen to be using. With the Nomad, we don't really have the ability to do that because you have to have the ship parked. So I'm sure there's a way to finagle it, but I don't know of a way to do that, to transfer to the Nomad, because by the time you load the rock in, you can't get back to that cargo area where the gemstones are stored. I also know that the cargo areas used to be removable, and you could just carry it, much like a backpack or something. But they've removed that, so you can't do that anymore. It's now just external storage. So we'll get to Aberdeen, and this is the Champion Moon. This is where all the action's supposed to be. And it's been a while since I've actually done mine here. So yeah, I'm pretty interested to find out, how does this first session go. Hopefully not with a 30k. And the last results that we had were so definitive that Daymar is the clear champion there. But you still make a pretty good living if you're mining at Magda, because of this. You have 3 moons. Ida isn't the best, but you have 3 moons to rock mine here. So it's worth the travel, even if you live in the in the Crusader system. Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. It makes no sense to me that they have the technology to, first of all, climate control one part of. We're getting interdicted.
Quantum travel cancelled.
But it just makes no sense to me that you would not have climate control for the mining laser, and that you'd literally just be in a position where only half your crew, and then it doesn't make any sense to have it in another seat either, because we know we have the technology for a person to drive and mine. So I just don't know what the advantage of it's going to be. I honestly think it was probably a situation where they probably just wanted to put out a land vehicle, and they just decided that it would be the quickest one that they could do would be an adaptation of the rock. So yeah, a bit of a mystery and kind of an enigma there as to what they're hoping to do. We got interdicted here, but we're going to try to just head right back to Aberdeen. I think that's an NPC interdiction, and they don't usually care. And I'm in a nomad, so I'm not going to do any fighting today.
Quantum travel engaged.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always an opportunity for them to take another pass at that vehicle. But even with that, I will tell you, it is not a pleasant experience to be scooping in a,
Travel complete.
in that seat. It, like I said, it literally made me nauseous to be in that seat. Okay, so we're going to try to find someplace on the sun side. I could just fly in, but I'm going to try over here. Yeah. And what we'll do is, I've been starting the clock on the pad, but we'll just land. We'll just land, and then we will start the clock. Yeah, there's always opportunity for them to sort of take another pass on it, but I mean, their list of ships that they're trying to take another pass at it's growing, right? It's pretty crazy. Now we're in the dark here, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be in the dark. We're not going to start in the dark. That looked like it was the light side, but I'll definitely check to see if we can find an OM station or something. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll head over to this station. And we'll just keep bouncing until we find someplace. And if I can get an OM marker, I'll hit OM1.
Engaged.
But I usually like to start these on the pad, on the ground. And the reason for that is that's how I've done all the, all the hours for the other moons. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't fidget around like this. So it's clear that the sun is over on our right here.
Quantum travel complete.
And that's what I was hoping for, an OM station, and there's OM1. That's what we want. Nomad, it's pretty quick to jump around like this too. It's it is great for that. Okay, so we're gonna head on down, and we're gonna want to head west. I'm gonna give us a little bit of room here. I'm also looking, kind of a tip here if you're into rock mining and you want some tips as I kind of go along. And this is with any mining, like typically you want to find the flats. You want to find the flat area on the moon. You don't want to be mining in the hills. When you're mining like other material, you will find them spawn, in the mountains. But breaking a rock on a mountainside is not great. It's better in a prospector and a mole. With a rock, with a gray cat rock, because it's a land vehicle, you're climbing that hill, and all of the gemstones will essentially go down the hill, and sometimes that's okay. But then oftentimes you have to kind of run through and start chasing them down because they just go all over the place. Whereas when you're mining like Quantanium or any of those other materials, those are big shards of rocks, and so they don't fly all over. So that's just kind of one of those things that I'm looking kind of right now. I see some kind of mountains over here. I'm heading basically straight down, and I'm going to try my best to kind of find a runway.
Landing gear engaged.
This is probably okay where we're going here. So now we're hitting the atmosphere. We got to be careful. Aberdeen does have some atmosphere. And the Nomad's great at slowing down, so you don't have to be too careful, but you definitely want, with all the moons, just to be on the cautious side when you're approaching the ground, because you go smash pretty quickly. And the bigger the ship, of course, the more concerned you have to be. But if you're flying around Stanton, you know what you're doing. Got the landing gear down, and I'm just going to pick a spot and land and get the clock going. One thing about the Nomad, it does have a tricky nose to it. You see I'm at 0, like level, and it wants to dip badly. You can see it dipping. It's just the way that this ship is sort of configured. It just really wants to dip on us. So we might just fly down a little bit more and do a proper landing. All right, we're finally here on Aberdeen. What a treat. And since we're not really doing anything other than just getting our clock going and finally getting to some rock mining, let's kick things off here. So the way we've been doing this is I've been on a pad usually. And so I start the timer, and that's the official clock. I should really get one that kind of is an overlay, but I'll tell you when I'm kind of setting things up here, because we want to know how long this takes, and how long we're mining. So I want to mine for at least an hour. So that's the goal. And then I kind of hit from an hour to an hour and 15 minutes or so, depending on where I am. So clock starts now. And yeah. Landing gear up. And I know the sun is west, so that'll be kind of my cardinal direction. And usually I fly away from the mining station. Of course, that's a very smart tip. I set the scanning angle to 179 degrees, so we're looking forward and just a little bit to our sides or on either side. And then I kind of ping once, and I'm going to let all these boxes just disappear. So I keep track of those 3 boxes, and I want them all to go away. And now, any new box that shows up between between anything under 5,000 meters or under, I'm going to investigate those and start pinging on them like I am this one. And if it's still a box at under 1,000 meters, that's going to be gemstone. So there's a cluster. And of course, they turn into diamonds when you get closer. And that's the final confirmation that you're dealing with gemstones. And so we'll just zoom in here and scan with our scanner. You got to get really close, by the way. You're looking for a mass of 0.84 or thereabouts, and that is going to be what we can mine with rocks. Now, this is Dolvine, and we are not mining Dolvine. We are mining Hadanite only. We're not going to mine any of the 2 other gemstones. Dolvine is the least valuable of the 3, and Aphorite is the second most valuable. And I will tell you kind of a pro tip here, don't bother mining Dolvine. And it's for 2 reasons. Not only is it the least valuable, it also is the trickiest to break. It is the most volatile of all of the gemstones. So not only is it not worth anything, it's very challenging. In fact, I would say it's the most challenging thing to mine, even over Quantanium, which is a different classification, I know, but I don't mine Dolvine unless I'm practicing. You can see I'm going to skip these 1s and 2s, these 1 gemstones. We're not mining singles, and that would end up being a rock anyway. So I'm just paying attention to those rocks. Now, there was one over here that kind of dropped off at 4,000, but that's 5,000. So that should not be a gemstone. It's not unusual to take about 5 to 8 minutes to find. Now I wasn't paying attention to that rock over that box over here, so I'm going to check it. Nope, it's so just head on towards the sun. Aberdeen and Arial both get kind of cloudy. There's this, sun haze that you kind of have to contend with, depending on where you are. That's a single. Like I said, it's been a while since I've mined here. So I don't know, Oh, there's 2 choices for us. Let's check this one out. And just look at the Nomad. Just drop right down to the slow speeds. And there's a 2 here. At least a 2. A little bit on the side of a hill, but manageable. So I want to mine that if it's Hadanite. Again, you'll see the mass is almost always 0.84 or thereabouts. That's still fine as well. I thought we saw one over here. That was kind of close. Yeah, I'm going to check that one out right here. And as you approach it, again, if it converts into one of those stars, like that one just did, but there's still a box up here, it's going to be a rock. Yeah, so that's a gemstone cluster. And looks like 3. So that's pretty good. Would definitely be worth mining that if it's Hadanite. Now, some people will mine anything if it's Hadanite, if it's just a single. I chose not to for this, kind of competition because I just thought it's a lot of work to get the rock out, and you gotta kind of make it worth your time. That is Dolvine. So, yeah. So far, Aberdeen is not producing the clusters of and again, we've checked over here. I'm just going to verify this over here is okay, that's Hadanite. All right, good. Yeah, we obviously didn't scan that one. So I marked that. It took us 6 minutes and 44 seconds to find that. So that way we can kind of get a sense of how long it takes for you to find a patch worth mining. Always a good idea to check your gate. All right, let's mine some rocks. All right, well, that was cool. So that, I said about 5 to 8 minutes average is what I saw on Magda, and maybe a little bit longer on Aberdeen, Daymar. But Aberdeen right now first clocked in at 6 minutes, 44 seconds, so that's good. Happy to see the rocks still working. Okay, great. Well, we're going to go break these 3 rocks. And what I typically do is focus on breaking these as fast as I can. But what you'll see here is I really have full control. I go into mining mode. It's like there's 2 modes. There's fracturing mode and there's extraction mode. That'll be after I break the rocks. So I'll walk through the first one, and then I will focus on the next two. But this is a pretty straightforward process. You just bring up your power by scrolling up your mouse wheel to get to 100%. And then as soon as you get in the green zone, you got to cut down to about half power as quickly as you can. And just kind of leave it there if you can. Find a sweet spot, up and down power based on, and you want to fill up that green zone. And that's the warning power critical because I dipped into the red just ever so slightly. And then you switch to extraction mode. Now you do move with the laser. Your head does move a little bit, but not your whole camera. You know, not in a way that is too jarring, but just aim the mining laser, switch to extraction mode, and you don't really have to move this thing around a lot. Like you see, if I just leave it alone, it'll grab what you're aiming at and pretty much anything around in the vicinity. Some people don't even aim at the gemstones themselves. They'll just pick a spot in between. And you'll be surprised at how far away a gemstone will get sucked up. So when you move it, the danger of when you move it is a gemstone could be on its way to being sucked up, and then you move the laser and it goes flying off. So usually keep that pretty well still. So that's me walking you through one. Now I'm going to break these things for speed because we are on the clock. So
Fracturing mode on.
Okay, that was easy. Very easy, in fact. So now we're just going to load us back up into the Nomad and start the whole process all over again. That is a run. And I'll get better at. Yeah, I a little out of practice getting this thing into the Nomad, but it's not too bad. Right there. Get in the ship, and then we set the timer. So that took me about 6 minutes. 6 minutes, 44 seconds to find, and about the same amount of time to break. A little more, actually. It took me a little longer to break and scoop. That took me about 7 minutes flat. So that give you sort of a little bit of a time. I mean, it doesn't feel like it took that long to break and scoop. And that's just because, you know, you're doing something.
Engine systems enabled.
So you're going to find a lot more,
Landing gear.
you know, cases where if you like to mine, if you like the activity of mining, highly recommend rock mining. Because we're going to be, you know, spending a lot more time doing actual mining. Now, I don't know if this is a gem, and it is now. I do know it's a gem now. So we're just going to check to see that it's Hadanite, and if it is, we're gonna mine it. If it is, then that's great. It is Hadanite. Okay, that's a great win for us. That only took us a minute.
Landing gear engaged.
So we're going to land real quick and break that one. Usually don't see them so close to one another. It is possible. On the other moons I've seen them, but we'll see what this does. I think that's a very terrible landing. It looked flat when I approached, but not so great. And you do really want to be careful here. Spend a little extra time finding a good spot no matter what ship you fly, because it's worth the time right now so that you don't have to do it later if you can't get the rock back in. And that's still not great. That is still not... It's kind of... I'm going to turn the engines off and see if we settle. That's okay. But I do spend a little extra time, and I would recommend you do the same. Don't just land and hope for the best, because, you know, if you're trying to make money, or you're just basically trying to do more mining, then you don't want to be in a situation where you can't get the rock back in, and then you got to hop in your ship and then find a good spot, and then go through all that jazz. Aberdeen seems pretty level so far. You know, so far so good.
Systems activating. Systems on.
Yeah, that was a intentional 180 that I did in the air so I could be facing the Nomad. All right, I'm going to break some rocks and see you on the flip.
Extraction mode on. Mining mode on. Fracturing mode on.
And this is my favorite part, the scooping. And if you look over to the left, you can see, I'm filling up Hadanite, and that I've got about 12, 13 CSEUs. And each piece of Hadanite goes for, I think, 260, 270, something like that per unit. And multiply this by 100, so we have about 170, 160 units right now, so you can do the math on that. There we go. Great. You'll see these little bugs with the diamonds. They're just kind of floating diamonds. Don't get too worried about those. It happens quite a bit. Not bad. Not bad. That makes me happy. Yeah, so that was great. That was a quick 1-2. And again, I kind of get in the ship, and then I'll call that a lap. That's like, yeah, average to break is about 7 minutes that you're seeing here for me to get, landed, get the rock out, and break all the rocks and scoop them up. Right now, I'm averaging around 7 minutes. So that's not too bad. You got to kind of put that into your, time equation.
Engine systems enabled.
So we're not going to waste much time.
Landing gear retracted.
And there's another one over here. Obviously, the more of these little clusters you can find, the better. You want a lot, you either want, now this is a big cluster, and if this is Hadanite, then of course, Daymar is gonna not be the champ for very long. Aberdeen will take over. We didn't see clusters like this. Of course, that's Dolvine. If we ever find a cluster of Hadanite that big, that's kind of rare, very rare. The benefit of pinging as quickly as I am is also apparent when you start going towards the haze that is created by the sun. And you can ignore the ones that turn right into stars because those are rocks. I think that's a new box over here. Let's find out. Yeah, and don't mind using a little speed either, you know. You'll see I'm kind of booking. And again, this is a nice cluster. If this is Hadanite, I suspect it's going to be Dolvine. Ah, Hadanite. Whoa. That surprises me, actually. Quite a bit. Yeah, let's jump over. Where's a good place to land? Looks like they're up over kind of like a little bit of a hill there. This isn't the best for our landing purposes, but the good thing is the Nomad is small. Oh, we'll just take this little spot over here. So you only need a little patch. As long as you don't land directly on a rock, you can always do your adjustments and find a sweet spot. I'm pretty good with that. Yeah, this is a nice cluster. I'm really surprised. And, you know, that's what Aberdeen needs to do if it really wants to, you know, if you really want to call this a great place to mine. It's got to produce these clusters. Now, I'm way off the ground there, but I think I'm fine. I probably wouldn't go much more than what you see there. Knowing the Nomad as I do now, it is... It is not finicky, but it definitely...
Systems activating. Systems on.
It's easier to drive this in third person, by the way. It's not so jarring. These are probably going to all fall down to my, what will be my left when I get the rock positioned. And I'm okay with that. I just want to get myself into a good spot before I jump in. And you'll notice that I almost always mine over to the left, and that's just to kind of give myself some room with the HUD. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. What is the rock's signature? It is, I know they're making some adjustments on that, and I don't know how far away you can see the rock. I think you have to be like close to 12,000 meters, 1,200 meters rather. It's it takes, you have to get right up on the rock to see it. And of course you can see I've got a radar as well. So you will probably see them before they see you. So you're pretty safe in the rock. Now again, I think these signatures are going to be adjusted. The land vehicle signatures, I believe, are up for review. But usually, if you mine with precaution, it's just like mining out in the middle of nowhere. You're kind of just, the chances, as long as I'm not near a mining station or a jump point, I really don't, it's the signature my ship is going to give me away before the rock will. And you're so far out in the middle of nowhere, you'll notice I don't even raise my cargo bay. And that's because if I do have a player show up, I want to be able to jump back in to my ship as quickly as I can. And I do that with the Valkyrie and the MSR as well. But you're safe. You will probably run into another player if you are anywhere near a jump point, and then beyond that, I usually go 2,000 meters away from the any kind of a jump point, and then I'm usually okay. So, sorry, we got some Nine Tails commentary talking over me. So. And when we get done scooping here, I'll show you the power, which is something you at least have to keep an eye on, because as I said, these things break down and they're battery powered. They don't take hydrogen fuel. So your power is the key to keeping this thing around and alive and well. And you just have to look at the power, the items in your power in the HUD, and you can get a good sense of where you are in terms of the health. It's a nice little cluster that we found here. And yeah, since I have more rocks to break, I usually break, by the way, I will break 2 rocks kind of in a row, up to 3. And then I kind of let the mining laser have a break. I'm told that it will overheat, and specifically when you're mining in a hot environment, that does impact the degradation of the mining laser. So I don't know, I haven't tested that recently, but I do know it used to break down quite a bit on me. And so now, out of habit, I'll break 1 or 2 rocks, maybe 3, and then I scoop, and then that's kind of the pattern I have. I think it's faster to break more all at once and then scoop. The other thing is it's kind of a protection against Star Citizen, which is, you have all these things that spawn, and the more things lying on the ground that are spawn that you don't pick up right away, these gemstones do kind of despawn. And so it's just a habit from old days when that was very common. So I would just break, like I said, I've got this one, I'll probably break this one and then do some scooping. the other thing to mention about rock mining is, the danger is not so much that you're going to blow yourself up. I know people get kind of panicked by that. The danger really is that you see how well grouped these gemstones are. If I overcharge, they blow up and blow away from you. You may lose a little material. I don't know. I think you do. But more importantly, it takes a lot longer to scoop these because these gemstones will fly out all over the place. They'll go way past my Nomad, and you'll be driving around trying to scoop one gemstone up at a time, and it's a real time waster. Some people don't do it. They just don't have the patience to do it, and I understand that. So you want to. That's really the only danger. So it's a very safe mining. You're not. I've never known anyone to die or blow up the rock because they overcharged. I'm sure if they were flagrantly overcharging the rock, you'd start to see some damage. But the rock should protect you from flying gemstones. Every once in a while, you'll see one kind of fly towards me when I break. But as long as they don't overcharge for very long, it's pretty good. The other thing you have to kind of be careful about, not really careful, but just kind of another consideration when you're rock mining with the Grey Cat rock. The Grey Cat rock will shimmy around. You may have noticed that on that last break. It kind of likes to bounce around, and that can really hurt your mining experience while you're trying to stay focused on a particular rock. And the other thing is just the desync, which happens quite a bit where you're trying to adjust your levels, and all of a sudden it spikes. But generally speaking, when you're breaking anything, and this includes, quantanium or any other materials, any type of mining, you'll notice that whatever you're breaking will have a certain kind of characteristic to it until you get into the green zone, and then it behaves differently. And so I see a lot of first-time miners, or rock hunters, as I'm going to call them. First-time rock hunters will, be so anxious to get into the green, and then they're not prepared for a very quick change. So when you're rock mining or mining anything, I usually, you back off the power as you're approaching the green zone, because it's gonna bite you real quick, and you'll go right into the red. But with rock mining, it is a little different. You back off a lot later. Like I'm in the green before I start backing off, and then I have to bring it all the way down to like 50%. power, or else, you know, I run into issue. And all ground vehicles, particularly the rocket, rock will turn on a dime. You just have to do the turning before you do the throttle. And then you should be good. Oh. Maybe just a little bit more forward. There we go. Weapons. And yeah, all mining lasers are weapons. And that's another tip for you is how that will come into play for you when you're mining is where you park your ship. If you park your ship too close to the rocks that you're trying to break, what will happen is you won't be able to use your laser. You'll be too close. It'll give you the friendly fire warning and you won't be able to break the rocks. So you want to park, you don't have to park that far away, as you see and have seen. So that took us 14 minutes, but that was a big cluster. So that's what you would expect.
Engine systems enabled.
And you'll notice I'm not really worrying about those one-off diamond
Landing gear.
gemstones. They're not worth hunting down. If it's like one or two, you know, don't bother. Now there's another box. Is that really another cluster? Those are going to be rocks off to the left, but this one here, those are also rocks. Okay. I was going to say that would have been like 3 in a row, which is unlike the other 2 moons that I've mined recently. But I think finding gemstones is the easiest scouting I've ever done. It just is easy. You just literally have to look for new boxes under 5,000 meters away, ping them, and if there's still boxes, when you get under 1,000 or thereabouts meters away, then it's going to be a gem, and it's going to be one of 3 gems, and you're going to want to mine Hadanite. Now I saw one pop up here. Yeah, I'm going to skip that. If you find that the box pops up under 1,000, like you're pinging, you're on the scanner and you're pinging, and you see something pop up and it's like 100 meters away, that's probably a hand mineable. You can mine them, but they are not big enough. And if you go check the mass on those, you'll see they'll be like 0.1 instead of 0.84. So those are all rocks. And sometimes, you know, I know that I'm not diligent at counting and looking at the boxes and seeing when they popped up, and that's my fault, but that's the only thing you really need to do for scouting. So this is not a gem. That one's just 1,000. So you just have to really just lay on that ping. Now this will be gems. Yep. Another cluster. So we've definitely seen more clusters here on Aberdeen. But they have been primarily Dolvine. And that's no good. But if this is Hadanite, then boy, I think Aberdeen is just going to run away with the prize here. And that is Hadanite, yeah. So that is another quick one. That took us 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Just go flying off this mountain, or this little hill. there's plenty of room back here for me to land. I just overshot it.
Engine systems disabled.
So this is the fourth set, our fourth cluster that we've come across. And it's been pretty good so far. It's been pretty good. We'll check the rock, and now in the other moons we capped off by time, and we're going to do the same thing here. We're at 45 minutes total.
Systems activating.
So we'll do the same. We'll be mining for at least another 15 minutes.
Extraction mode on.
All right, I'm going to focus and see you on the flip.
On. Fracturing mode on.
you can see, we're getting full. We're over halfway full. We can do 80. And I guess we never talked about this. If I can do, I mean, we only have 10 more minutes, roughly.
Warning. Power critical.
But if I fill up, which is quite possible, given this rate, we'll call it then, and we'll just clock the time. But that would be really, really unusual. But this is supposed to be the best place, so it's living up to its name so far, I think.
Warning. Power critical. Extraction mode on. Fracturing mode on. Extraction mode on.
Okay, we're not going to chase that one down. We're going to store and explore. Oh, look at that view. Yeah, that was kind of a long break. Well, actually, no. Yeah, it took us about 11 or 12 minutes. So I did break that one faster than the other ones. Yeah, so far, I have to say, Aberdeen is not disappointing. So, is it worth the suit?
Engine systems enabled.
I mean, you have to factor that into your profits once. You know, maybe you pick up a spare.
Landing gear retracted.
It's not nothing. Oh, there's another. Oops. That looks like 2, maybe. Let's find out. Yeah, now these might be hand minables. Let's just check them out. They're so small. Mass 8.4. So yeah, this, and that's Hadanite. So we're mining it. Wow. That was under a minute. Okay, let's land and brake.
Landing gear engaged.
Just absolutely interesting how quickly that. I didn't even put up my bay door here before finding these rocks. So yeah, Aberdeen is producing. It's producing for sure. It is definitely.
Engine systems disabled.
I don't even know. And again, I've heard people say that Aberdeen isn't what it used to be and that you can't find anything and it's not worth it and you got to get the suit. And I agree with the suit and everything. You know, you're going to have a suit. I wouldn't be able to do all the mining I've been doing because it's taken me 11 minutes to break, 14 minutes to break.
Systems activating. Systems on.
All right, let me make short work of these.
Extraction mode on.
And we'll see on the flippy.
Mining mode on. Fraction mode on.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Now we are right over an hour. And in the past, you know, we've kind of kept going to about an hour 12, hour 15 or so. Just to make it worth the trip, you know, especially if we're in the middle of a good run. So I think I'm going to try to do one more maybe. And if we get kind of closer to the 115 mark, then we'll call it.
Engine systems enabled.
And of course, we're not
Landing gear retracted.
letting the game get in the way of our tests. So, you know, if something happens, like I get a 30K while I'm on the way to sell, I will take what was in the rock and calculate its value. We are allowing for loss, but you know, we're also not letting the game, you know, I can't factor in when the game is gonna decide to crash. So we want to make sure that we, you know, kind of keep things equal and fair. So yeah, I'm gonna just do a little more scouting here. See a couple over on the right there, but I think those are rocks. Maybe let me just check that 3,000. Let me just check this one here. These over here, I think these are rocks. That is a gem. And there's 3 of them. So let's see what we got. This is Hadanite. This will be the last one we break. And that'll be right on time too. 8.4 is the mass we're looking for, and it's Hadanite. So kind of a good run here for us.
Landing gear engaged.
That was another quick one. Found that in like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Barely 2.5 minutes. That's great. Yeah, like I said, I part of this keeping the time is also important, just because, as I said, one can expect that the rock is going to break down here.
Systems activating.
Seen far too many rock hunters not aware of that, and they get a whole rock full, and then they're stuck. Okay, well, let's make quick work of this one, and then we'll call it. So because we're on the clock.
Extraction mode on. Mining mode on. Fracturing mode on.
And of course, that's going to call it. We're going to be, as soon as I get in the ship here, I'll turn off the timer. I'd like to stay and look at the sunset, but we're on the clock. And officially stop the clock now. So that's 1 hour and 11 minutes. We did 6 runs, which is amazing. I think that's the highest number of runs we've done in this series so far. And yeah, we're going to go sell. Now again,
Engine systems enabled.
at this point in the game,
Landing.
we're going to count what we have. So, you know, I've had crashes occur as I've landed at the mining station to sell. And we're not going to let the game get in the way. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. This is going to be probably one of the larger runs we've ever done in this series. And so Aberdeen is really, you know, kind of living up to its name. I'm happy. That makes me happy. If it can continue to do that, we'll see where Arial lands, and maybe our numbers will be just what everybody, you know, expected them to be, which I'm okay. I'm okay if that ends up being our final result. But yeah, so let's go ahead and find a mining station, and first one we can find, we will sell. We're not going to go to Klesher. We already went there once. So let's go to HDMS Anderson.
Quantum travel engaged.
And we will sell. So yeah, just already looking at 71 minutes, 6 laps. That's great.
Quantum travel complete.
Yeah, I absolutely love rock mining. It is a very relaxing experience. I say that, and maybe we have an unfriendly here. I don't think we do. Probably somebody just picking up some medical supplies. Or, actually, I'm not sure if you can buy them here. We'll get in the armistice zone. This is it's an Argo. It's an Argo cargo, so I'm not too worried. I think we'll be okay. I don't think they're going to pose too big of a threat to us. I've never known an Argo cargo
Landing gear
pilot to be an aggressor. Okay. Let's jump out and
systems disabled.
see how much we made. I think that's going to be right in front of us as well. Just see if my ship needs to be repaired. I think I'm seeing some sparks. And that's where we can sell at this storage facility. All right, let's see how much we made. Should be a nice little haul. And of course, we're wearing something that's very difficult to see. But that's 197 725. Okay, so I'm gonna add this. Let's see here. 197 725. And we're going to add that to Aberdeen. And we got that recorded. What a great run. What a great run for Aberdeen as the first. I'm just curious. If it already is the best place to mine by average. Let's check that out. It is. It is. It literally is right now after the first run. What we're seeing, what I have here for stats are that Aberdeen is profit per minute is 2,785. And Daymar is 1,811, and Magda is 1,468. So every minute that we've mined, even though we've only done one session, of course, there's a good chance we have a couple of bad sessions and it brings that number down. But it's decisively the best place to mine right now. Again, we've got another 4 or 5 hours to put into mining here to get a final number, but pretty happy with what happened so far. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I just want to thank you for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate the likes and the subscribes. We're getting more and more every day. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. My name is Yentra. Please check out my Discord server. The link's in the description of this video and all my videos. And go ahead and pop over there and say hello. We are giving away 3 things at the end of the month. We're going to be giving away 1 million Alpha UEC to one lucky player. And we'll also be giving away the Zeus suit, which is a subscriber item. It comes in 3 colors, orange, gray, and white. And if you win that, you get your choice of those colors, one of those colors. And we're also going to give away a vehicle. I almost said ship, but technically it's a vehicle. We're going to give away the Grey Cat STV. It's just the direct to ready to fly that was announced on CitizenCon a couple weeks ago. So if you like that and wanted to pick that up but didn't want to spend the money, well, just head over to our Discord, and it's very simple to become eligible. Just check out the About channel, the About giveaways, and it gives you all the details you need. And of course, if you can't find that or have any other questions about those giveaways, feel free to say, to direct message me on Discord. My name is Yentra there as well. And if you check out my Discord server, that's the best way to say hello. Otherwise, if you are also interested in joining me on stream, I'm more than happy to invite people on to help play. This particular series is kind of a solo thing. I don't want people scouting for me and changing the numbers and, affecting the outcome. But all the other streams, I invite whoever wants to come on board and join in on the fun. We had Space Bub and Luca last time, and they guided me through my first Gemtown experience. And if you want to check that video out, that was the last stream that I did, and boy, was that fun. We stumbled upon victory. So I really highly recommend checking that one out. That was a lot of fun to be a part of, and I watched that one, and it's a lot of fun to watch as well. So with all that said, thank you once again for joining me on this stream, and I am trying to set a pretty rigid schedule of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at around 3 p.m. Pacific time. If you're interested in checking me out, I do fluctuate that time just slightly, but if you like and subscribe and you hit that notification bell, you'll know when I come on to stream, and you can make sure that you don't miss me. But it'll be around 3 p.m. Pacific time, maybe a little after, because I tend to want to not step on other streamers that I respect stream just before me, and I want to wait for them to kind of wrap up and finish up their streams. Like Jack, for example, usually streams just before my time, and I've kind of picked a time slot that doesn't conflict with his stream because I enjoy watching it. And of course, assuming you're one of my very small following group here who hasn't checked out Jack Axton, please do. Also check out SpaceBub. He streams as well, and if you're interested in links to their streams, you can find them on my Discord in the other streams channel. Please come say hello, and we will see you in the next one, everyone. Thanks. Have a good night.
Oh, we wildin', we drinking cherry wine and we dancing on an island. We going back the finest. Yeah, Miss Tequila and call me señorita. Ay, papi, got me dreaming. My legs up on the ceiling. Oh, yeah. I know when he come, he ain't never gonna leave. No. Hit it the night run, and that's the way I wanna be. So don't think I'm the one to won't ever be enough. Mix until I know, bitch, I ain't the one. He don't want love. He just wanna fuck. Ow, little vacation. Drink it till we naked. Talking with our tongues. We just having fun.